Welcome back to Ielts and the world of television. This is basically the gem. We're going to introduce you a little bit of the television world. This is Obi Truck, and inside the truck we have, hello everyone. We have Anh Trọng, who is our DOP. This is Dương, our production assistant, and this is Anh Dũng, our Obi Truck technician. And all of these materials and equipment is really, really complicated. I don't understand all of it, but one day I do wish to. But an interesting thing about this truck is that this is where all the magic happens. This is where the direction happens. This is where it's one of the coldest places that you can find in a television station. It's also at night. Let me tell you, this is where all the mosquitoes go to, because this is always outside. But, you know, despite the fact that you saw a bit of the technicalities of television, this episode we'll be talking about television with a very special guest. And it's going to be, you know, on the human aspect and the human experience of television. So be excited, and we're going to give you a tour into our life. Let's go! Welcome back to the studio, and guys, guess what? You asked and we listened, and today's topic is on television, and we have our guest that you've all been waiting to meet, and she's right here sitting with me in the studio. Let's welcome Chen.
Hello.
Hello, hi. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me here on this show. I'm very excited to join in Ielts.
How does it feel being a guest this time?
Oh God, I think I'm really used to posing questions. So, you know, if I seem a little bit on the spot today and feel a little bit hesitant,
well, I guess
this is new for me.
Today it's a conversation. So
okay.
Yeah. I'll ask questions. You're free to ask questions too if you would like.
Sure.
But okay, so first question is, you were an environmental major as well as a French major.
Mm-hmm.
How did your path to television start?
Wow. Yes, it seems quite random, doesn't it? I graduated from school, and like all graduates back then, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Obviously, in liberal arts school in the States, people, you know, embrace this image of a graduate going out there to kind of save the world. Yes. And then once you get out in the real world, especially for me coming back to Vietnam that time, it wasn't so. It wasn't like I could go out and find a job that would allow me to be like this hero or save the world as in the books that I learned during college. And so I started a translation job because that's what I knew. I knew English, and that's how I ended up in VTV and television, and then people, you know, started giving me more jobs and things that I've never done before. It started from The Voice, and then it started, okay, we need someone to stand in for this person to read the news. And I'm like, I can't do that. But I did, eventually I did, and one thing just led to the next.
Right now you're doing a lot of things. You're doing, you know, journalistic TV. You're also doing a little bit of the broadcast TV. You know, what is the difference in the experiences for you?
It's a little different in terms of practicality. Obviously, when I first started out, being in front of the limelight, you know, and talking, being able to express your ideas fluently, and at the same time be very mindful of what audiences think, whether they be Vietnamese or internationally. Those are kind of the first challenges. But over time, the challenges are to stay and continue to be creative and you know, love what you do. Obviously, people that I meet, they are the biggest inspiration. I'm very lucky to be able to work in different varieties of fields. Those things give me inspiration to continue on my next show and to continue this path. Whereas the differences in journalistic and then broadcast, obviously, you know, in a lot of the features, you have more fun in terms of you get to experience more of the lifestyle side of broadcast. Whereas with journalistic, I get to practice a lot of what I learned in school later on in grad school, and that's the kind of the basics of journalism and your journalistic identity, where you try to portray what you see as closely as possible. And obviously there are differences between feature and news.
So a lot of times when we think about television, especially television in Vietnam, and probably similarly around the world, in the sense that people love drama. People like to see all that crazy emotions on TV, and sometimes, people on TV, they love that kind of stuff as well. So are you a drama person, or are you not a drama person when it comes to your work?
To answer straightly, I would say I'm not a drama person. I do a lot of news on a daily basis. I try to keep it as straightforward as possible, quick and simple, but at the same time very true to the story. We also broadcast to an international audience, so it's also about how the international audience sees Vietnam, and I see myself having to fill really huge shoes, because this is about portraying a whole country. So when it comes to news, we're very careful. But obviously when it comes to features, we try to portray Vietnam in the best of ways, but also in the most fun of ways and interesting. One of our goals is to get people to come to Vietnam, and to know about Vietnam and to know about what's going on.
I agree. And now that you're a mom, and you're a working mom, what's your day like?
Right now, it's definitely hard being a working mom. I definitely have a huge respect for all moms once I turned a mom, and even more so now as my baby is growing older, and especially more appreciation for my mom, and all of the hard work that she had to go through to raise me up to be who I am today. But in terms of my day, it's definitely a balance. I mean, I try my best to see my baby as much as possible. I'm very lucky to live right next to my work, so I go home to him as much as possible, and try to work once he goes to sleep. If I have work to do at home, but it's going well so far. Definitely, it's stressful, and again, it gives me so much appreciation for all the working moms out there.
Yeah, and it probably trains you to be a lot more, to recognize your identity. Another aspect of the Vietnamese identity, right?
Exactly. It's an identity that's so close and dear to the hearts of many, Vietnamese people. That Vietnamese women are strong and strong in terms, of not only being physically strong, but mentally strong, to be able to balance all of these things in their life, a career, a family, children, and still having grace through all of that. So those are my, role models, and my mom is a great role model in that aspect, and someone I aspire to become. In the future. I mean, I'm not sure I'm doing such a great job now. It's still so new for me. It's juggling all of this, in one life. But we'll see how it goes. And I have a lot of people who've gone before me to look at and to be a role model to.
Mm-hmm. Now, talking about that, there's a lot of people, people in universities, in schools, and young working adults who really look up to you as a role model. And actually, we've invited some people here today to the studio, but we're going to meet them later. Before you guys get a chance to meet Dương, we're going to play a game. And if you don't already know, we have the Ielts Marathon, and Vin's going to take part this time.
Okay.
Have you ever taken the Ielts before?
Yes, I took the Ielts once. Actually, it was for my graduate school.
Oh, so not the TOEFL for your undergrad and then the Ielts for your grad.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Okay, let's go.
Thank you.
Over.
Welcome to the new version of Ielts Marathon. The Devil's Spade will challenge our guest by being blindfolded, looking for 3 items in those separate boxes. Next, the photo shoot challenge will be even harder when they have to spin at least 1 round on our tricky spinning plate until we got the right position of a perfect photo. And at the monitor, series of skill for the IELTS test will be challenged in a limited of time. Last but not least, in the new version of Sneak of Shame, our guests have to sneak from eyesight of Phoebe, collecting 5 words, then persuade our beautiful host for the last one, then form the word. Is it hard enough? The Ielts Marathon will start right now.
Hey, you're now with us at the Ielts Marathon Challenge. And of course, with this challenge, we always will have our contender. Our contender today is Dương. And so, to prepare for this Ielts Marathon Challenge, what have you done?
I don't know. I'm quite nervous, so hopefully I'll do well.
Okay, so your first task is to basically dig your hands around all of this mess, and you're gonna have to be blindfolded.
Okay.
And you gotta find the passport, you gotta find the keys, and you also have to find the information letter.
Okay.
All right? I'm gonna lead you to your first box. So can you feel the box? There are 4 boxes. First box, second box, third box, okay? And then the fourth box.
Okay. This is a little hard to reach.
All right.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Okay, ready, get set, go.
Okay.
Okay, first box. She's digging through what we call spaghetti. Okay, what do you feel? What does it feel like to you?
It feels like spaghetti, but like nylon spaghetti.
Nylon.
I feel a paper. I don't know. Is this the
Oh,
confirmation
that is
letter?
the confirmation letter. You got
Okay.
the first one.
Okay,
All
I'm
right.
gonna check to see if there's anything else in
Okay,
this
so
box.
All right, so you're on to your second box.
Okay. Oh.
Okay, there might be something in here. We
Why
don't know.
is it? I think it's cotton.
Cotton. What did that feel like to you?
Very furry.
Very furry. You thought it was an animal?
Yeah, that was my first initial reaction. I find the key.
Oh, she has the
I found the
keys.
key. Okay.
So your
I'm
fingers
gonna-
work very well.
I check again this box to see if there's anything else.
This is your third box.
Okay.
You only have one more item. One more item.
Plush animals.
Plush animals.
I found it.
Oh, congratulations! All
Can
3
I take
items.
this off now?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
That's very fast.
Whoa. Wait.
Okay, beautiful. How did that feel?
Good.
Yeah?
Yes. Okay, I see what I've been touching. Okay, flowers.
Okay, so
Now-
you're on to the next challenge.
What am I doing here?
And you got to set the timer to a couple of seconds, 10 seconds, and then you got to go on to that spinning wheel, spin 1 round, and make sure that it snaps right at the moment when
Okay.
you're in front of the camera.
I'm gonna take off my shoes if that's
Yeah,
okay.
that's a very smart move.
All right. Press it.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, you got 10 seconds.
What do I have to do?
You
Turn
gotta
it?
spin it, and then make sure that at the last minute, at the last second, oh, it took a picture of your back. Very beautiful back.
So I have to do it again?
Yes.
Okay.
You gotta do it one more time.
Okay. This is difficult. Did that work?
Beautiful. You're on to the next one.
Yes.
All right.
You will hear a recording of a tour of an art museum.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lucy, and I'll be your guide for today's 2 o'clock tour of the Jamestown Museum of Art. We begin our tour here in the main gallery. Here you can see our collection of modern art. We're quite proud of this collection, which includes some minor works by major artists. For example, you'll see over there a small Picasso. And on this wall, you'll see works by some other well-known modern painters. Moving ahead to the next room, now we're in the City Gallery. This is the room where we feature local artists.
So number 2 is the City Gallery.
Number 2 is the City Gallery. Is this correct? You're on to the next one.
Yes.
Now is the Paraphrase challenge.
Okay.
Yeah. You just need to pick 3 words and find 3 synonyms, and you're off to go.
All right. Nearest is closest. Major is large. And support will be help.
Support will be help. That is absolutely correct. All right, next is the pronunciation challenge, the final challenge in this section. You're going to read the whole paragraph. You just need one sentence fully recognized to pass.
Okay.
Not
All
a
right.
problem,
Shall I
Madison.
begin? Okay.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, action. A pizza with pieces of chicken that tasted like a rotten French fry. Jack of potatoes that are as wonderful as a piece of cardboard. Should you need a bathroom break, hold it unless you want to take a hike to find it. The next time you dig your plastic spoon into a potato, use 2 because they'll break.
All right, you're on to the next challenge.
Okay.
Let's go over here. What did you think about all of those challenges just now?
Oh, it's very fun to take these challenges. I mean, you definitely get a little bit nerve-wracked at
Yes.
some points.
Yes. So your final challenge is going to be called the sneak of shame. You're going to be sneaking up to the letters, and then I'm going to have to turn around, and every time I turn around, you got to pause and freeze in that.
Okay.
In that, whatever stance you were standing in.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, it's just the rule of the game. So are you ready for the sneak of shame?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay. Sneak of shame, a new edition starts now. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 2.5, 3. You have no, you just look like you haven't moved. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. A 1 and a 2 and a 2.5 and a 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I have a 3. I have a 4.
I have all the letters.
You have all the letters.
This is an O, an R.
Yeah. I'll hold some for you.
Okay.
An O and an R.
H, C, and A.
What can that be? And remember, I have a secret letter as well. And without it, you might not be able to form the word. What will you tell me to give you the last letter?
Please?
Okay, since you said please, this is your last letter.
Okay.
O-R.
C-H.
C-H.
A-N-O-R. Oh, I have no idea.
Here, let me hold this for you so you can have a visualization.
Anchor.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that took forever.
Anchor.
Anchor, okay.
What does anchor mean?
Anchor means presenter.
What do you want to say to all the young people that want to get into television? Are there certain tips to remain in this industry?
Yes, I mentioned kind of this, abbreviation once. It's to stay open, O-P-E-N-E-D. So O stands for optimism, P stands for patience, E stands for eagerness, N stands for nimbleness, and another E stands for explorations, and also D is determination.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming to play this
Thank
time
you.
and sharing a lot of the really good skills, I think, for people who are interested to speak publicly and also for people who are interested in television.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yay. Yeah, thank you. And of course, guys, we are not done yet with Dương because next up, we're going to have a little segment of surprise for all of you that has followed us and that has listened to our campaigns out there on Facebook, okay? So stay tuned. You're going to meet a couple of lucky ones up next. Yeah. Hey, welcome back to the studio. We have selected some people to be here in the studio today with us, and these are the amazing people that's going to have a little bit of a lesson, a skills lesson from Dương today, okay? So let's move on over, and this is the group of the lucky people So what are we going to do today, Dương?
We're going to do some vocal warm-ups, basically to warm up your voice so that you can project better. And this is a skill not only for television people, but also for daily life, you know, so that you can project and speak better, so that your voice resonates with other people.
Okay, so what are we going to start with?
Okay, we're going to start with the first is what I call the 1, 2, 3s. And it's basically counting from 1 to 10, slowly increasing the volume. So I'll do a demonstration. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Shall we do it? Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
1,
2, 3, 4, 5,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yes. And now are we ready for the vocal games? Yes. Okay. This one we call the meet and greet, because all of our audience here just came here today and they've already made friends with each other. But we're going to say hello to one another using different vocal techniques. So what is going to happen is that we're going to line up like this, and then we're going to say hello to one another from Gong to Phoebe. And we're going to say hello from one person to the next, but saying hello longer each time. So, I mean, you could do it either hello or hello, any way you want. But remember to project your voice, okay? So we do it once that time, and then we're going to go back, okay? So are we ready to begin the meet and greet?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So 3, 2, 1, action. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, now it comes from me. Hi there.
Hi there. Hi there.
Hi there. And that is the end.
All right, so everyone's going to go home and utilize those skills, right?
Yes.
Yay. All right, thanks so much, Zoom.
Thank you.
Some great tips. All right, guys, that's it for this section with Zoom Chen. Some really interesting, really useful tips there when you're talking in front of a public or when you're taking the Ielts exam. You know, project your voice. But of course, next up is the Idioms of the Week section. We know you love it because it has some very, very interesting phrases where you can use over and over again, not just in the Ielts exam, but also in life. So stay tuned, take a look at the idioms this week.
Idiom of this week. People who wear their heart on their sleeve express their emotions freely and openly for all to use. Next part of 8 IELTS. Welcome this beautiful actress to the real-time speaking test of Stars Do IELTS. You have been amazed by her acting talent, will be again amazed by her speaking. Cheers to Lan Phương. And no one other than our expert Oliver Holmes will review on the performance to deliver comments and good tips for your IELTS exam. We'll be ready up next on the show. Stay tuned for the next part. We begin right now.
Hey, you're back with us in the studio, and with every IELTS episode, we will have to have expert opinions, because at the end of the day, in order for you to study well for the IELTS, we want to show you what really goes on inside the examiner's head, as well as what are some of the points you really need to focus and take note of. So of course, to help us with that today is Oliver Holmes.
Hello again.
Thank
so
you.
nice to see you again.
Thanks for coming back. This week we are talking about television.
That's very appropriate.
Very, very appropriate, right? So today we have a person who is in TV a lot. She's an actress, and her name is Lan Phương, and she's going to be talking about television a little bit. So let's have a look at the Stars Do IELTS this week. So Lan Phương, take it away with your Stars Do IELTS section.
Hello, I'm waiting for my turn to go into the room to do a speaking test, and this is my second time. I hope that I'm not so nervous inside the room, so please wish me luck. I have to go now. Bye.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is the speaking test for the International English Language Testing System. My name's Julian Burnley. Can you tell me your full name, please?
My name is Nguyễn Lan Phương.
Thank you. Can I see your identification, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, that's fine.
Thank you.
Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about free time. What do you like doing in your free time?
In my free time, I will have some coffee with my best friends. I have one best friend and we can share everything. I can talk to her and she can talk to me and we love listening to each other.
If you had more free time, what would you do?
If I have more free time, I would take piano lesson. I love piano and I wish to have a piano at home so I can play anytime I want.
Now, I'm going to give you a topic. And I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes.
Okay.
Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say.
Okay.
You can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
Here's some paper and a pencil for taking notes.
Thank you.
And here's your topic. I'd like you to tell me about a recent event in your life that made you happy.
Okay.
Alright, remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Okay. So when I write down in the paper and try to recall all the events and which event make me happy, then I realized that all the events related to Japan make me so happy. And I was so lucky I just went to Japan in June, just last month, to do a TV show. And I was like a host in a show introducing about Japanese culture, Japanese technology to Vietnamese audience. And whenever I go there, I just feel amazing. I just feel so happy. I love everything about Japan. I think I can talk to you about Japan non-stop. But now I will try to go into the point. So I went to Tokushima City and Awaji Island to visit many places. One amazing thing is the solar power plant. I go there and I learned that 20 years ago there was a plant there, but it was destroyed absolutely from the earthquake. And the Japanese just rebuilt the plant in just 1 year. And since then, for 19 years, it keep operating and produce the electricity for the whole island. And then I went to visit the LED lights exhibition, and I learned that there's one Japanese who create the LED lights and the blue light in LED, and he got the Nobel Prize for that. And I know that there's so many earthquakes in Japan, so they create a system of a lot of LED lights. So when the earthquake happens, all the lights will go off, and all the LED lights will turn on to lead the people and go to the shelter.
Thank you. Would you like to go back to Japan?
Yes, sure. In the end of the year, I will go back, and that will be my 10th time to Japan.
Thank you. We've been talking about a recent event in your life that made you happy. I'd like to discuss with you 1 or 2 more general questions about this. Let's first talk about happiness.
Okay.
What do you think makes someone happy?
Oh, I just make a video about exactly like that. What makes you happy? And I go with some friends and with the camera, we go around in Saigon to interview people about what makes you happy. But we interview mostly with the poor people or people who have to work very hard on the streets. And the answers are very nice. And some they just said, when I can sell a lot of cakes, and I'm happy. When I see my children go to school and learn things, I'm happy. And some said, oh, there's some passengers passing by me and give me some coupons, and that make me happy. And some
So one of them was selling cakes, right?
Yeah.
So that was to do with money. Do you think that money is key to being happy?
Of course, because everybody needs money, because everybody needs food, needs a home to stay. So you can only have money, and then you can have those things. But money is not all. because I can see that from me and from people around me. We need more with love and care.
Thank you very much, Lan Phương. That is the end of the speaking test.
Thank you very much.
Hey, what did you think of Lan Phương performance?
Generally I think she's great. I mean, what I like about her performance is that she's confident enough to continue speaking, even if I think she knows sometimes that she's made small mistakes with the words, but she just keeps on speaking, and that's great. And she's got really good use of emphasis as well. She speaks very naturally, and I think personally her pronunciation is a strong point.
Are you surprised by the fact that she is able to deliver the English language so well?
Actually, no, I'm not. After living in Vietnam for several years, I've heard many Vietnamese students who reach very high levels of fluency. So I'm not surprised when people actually do have this kind of level of student.
Okay, Lan Phương, I realized there's a little bit of I call it timbre, but a little bit of raspiness in your voice. Were you sick on that day?
Yes, my voice is a bit bad because recently I have to use my voice a lot in acting and practicing the Southern accent because I'm going to do a Southern girl, like Mekong Delta girl. That's why my voice is very bad.
So Lan Phương, you were really nervous before the exam. Were you less nervous now that you've gone through the whole process?
I'm still nervous and I don't understand why. I think I hate examination. I hate going to the test. And I think I'm lucky that I don't have to go into so many tests. In the second part, when I had to speak by myself like for 2 minutes, I still feel nervous, and I think I made a lot of mistakes in words and grammars, and hate myself for that. And plus, no. And then it's better when the conversation starts. You know, I can hear the question and then I answer. But especially in the third part, I try to think, oh, now he gave me questions, more questions. Then it can be like conversation. Then I can be more relaxed. But I don't know, maybe this is the examination. It's the test. So it just go into my blood and tell me that this is the test. So I cannot be natural and free and be okay with the conversation. So I hope I didn't make so many mistakes.
Can you share some tips for the IELTS audience after you performed that speaking exam?
Yes, the biggest tip is shouldn't be nervous, but this is very hard advice because when you're nervous, you just be nervous. So I think maybe you should just breathe and then smile more and try to think the teacher is your friend. Once you can feel that he is your friend, and now you guys are just having a conversation like normal friends, then I think you can do better. And then the second tips, maybe you shouldn't think too much about what you're talking. Like me, because sometimes I keep thinking about what I'm talking and I realize, oh, I make this mistake and this word is wrong. I think we shouldn't do that. We should just feel free to talk and just talk. Then I think when you're confident and when the teachers feel you are confident, then he will give you a high score.
Yeah, when the teacher feels that you're confident, he will give you a high score.
You know, I think
correct?
she is quite right, yeah. I think being confident would allow her to just keep on talking and not worry about the mistakes that she makes. And I think she's right in that regard. Although I would say, and I do say to a lot of my students, that if you have nerves, then that can be an advantage as well. And she's right, it's not a normal conversation. You really have to show off all the range of vocabulary and grammar that you have. So you do have to be aware that you're aiming to show the examiner your awareness of the past, the present, the future tenses, conditionals, relative clauses, idioms. When I was at university, I did feel a lot of stress before my exams, but it was this nervous energy which I think helped me to write faster. And I think it was actually quite useful, but you need to harness that energy.
Absolutely. And now that you mentioned writing, I think it's the perfect transition to our writing section. And guys, today's writing section is going to be on coherence and cohesion. Take a look at the following clip and we'll talk more about the writing section. So Oliver, when it comes to writing coherently and cohesively, I think there's a very important tool, right? The linking devices. Tell us a little bit more about how to link.
Sure. In task 1 and task 2, in both of these tasks, linking words are very important. I think in terms of coherence and cohesion, there's a few different factors we need to think about. First of all, the linking words like however, as a result, consequently. Then we need to have a wide range of cause and effect language. So, for example, one possible consequence of this is that, and another possible result might be that. Generally, higher scoring students will tend to use larger phrases. So instead of using phrases like firstly, secondly, thirdly, they'll use things like perhaps the most important point is, one of the most significant advantages of X is, another significant benefit is that something. Another thing that examiners are really looking for is referencing. And this is to avoid making your writing repetitive. If you repeat the same things all the way through your essay, then you're not showing a range of language. So it's a good idea for students to become very comfortable with using referencing. So when you have a subject of one sentence, in the next sentence you refer to it using things like this idea, this problem, these issues, those people who are affected by this. So this, those, that kind of referencing.
Some really good writing tips. And, let's go on to the next section, which is the Voice of the Week section. For this week, the Voice of the Week section, the person's going to be talking about a piece of TV show that they really enjoy. All right, so let's take a look.
So the moment I read these questions, the first thing that crossed my mind was the news about the historic visit of President Barack Obama to Vietnam. I first heard this news when I was having lunch with my family together, and I heard the news broadcasters mention on TV that he was to pay an official 3-day visit to Vietnam. And I have to say that every single member of my family was so excited. We were also very curious about what he would do or where he would go, or like what food he would eat in Vietnam. Then even my grandmother was also very interested. And I think there are many reasons why this news was considered to be so terrific and so positive to all Vietnamese people. Firstly, I think we were very hopeful that President Obama's visit would shape a new promising future between the two countries. And we were also, expecting our economy to thrive, and we were also expecting a lot of collaboration in the area of national defense, education and health services. And I think another reason why the news was so good to me was that President Obama is a man of virtue himself. He has set a lot of shining examples of modesty, of good parenting, of happy marriage, and proficient country leadership. So I think when he visited my country, there would definitely be a lot of lessons to be learned, and he would probably motivate or encourage young people in my country to act differently. Okay, so I think that is the reason why so many people were, including me, were so interested in the news.
Yes, and he talked about President Obama's visit to Vietnam.
I followed that with great interest, yeah.
Me too, and it's been covered widely. So what do you think of that delivery?
Excellent. I mean, he's got a few pauses at the beginning when he's thinking about the content of what he's saying, and that's not really a problem. Overall, his delivery, I would say, is pretty much like a native English speaker, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's lived in another country for a year or two, because his way of speaking is quite natural, and his range of vocabulary is unusually wide.
Yes. All right, thanks so much, Oliver, for spending the time with us for this episode on television.
Thank you so much.
To sum up, can you maybe tell our audience some of the good idioms and vocabulary to use for the television topic?
Well, I think one that might be appropriate for me and perhaps for you is to love being in the limelight, or maybe to hate being in the limelight. It means, being famous or being well known. And one more idiom that we could use is perhaps to sweep things under the carpet, which means to hide an issue. So, for example, climate change and the destruction of ecosystems, these things are harder to sweep under the carpet if television makes us more aware of the issue.
Absolutely. So, thank you for all that very, very useful tips and useful vocabulary and phrases. And guys, if you go away and you cannot remember a lot, just remember the phrases that Oliver has said. To sweep things under the carpet, as well as to love or hate being in the limelight. Good one, good one. All right, thanks so much, Oliver, for coming on. And guys, every week we always remind you to do one thing. Do you remember what it is? As always, for every week, we always remind you to take a video. We always remind you to use social media, use YouTube, use Facebook, to send us your videos so that you can be featured on the Voice of the Week section. So for next week, we hope to go through all of your videos and feature you again. Aren't you glad that today you had a chance to explore what it really is like in the television industry? There's another thing I want to share with you, actually. The television industry is not as glamorous as it looks on TV. Within all the glamour and the lighting and the stage, there's a lot of hard work and a lot of people that's involved. So television itself is really, really hard work. And I think this is something that, is the greatest thing about television, because it's a communications platform, but it's also a hard-working platform. So until next time, I hope that you take away a little snippet of television to use in that IELTS exam. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Ciao, ciao. All right, but of course, to end every show, why don't we do a little bit of a vocal exercise this time, okay? So shall we do it? All right, so we're going to start, Goodbye. 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 Goodbye, everybody.